Stepmother glasses just broke one of these, I call this nose bumps. I'll search for the right term, put it in the title. I think it's not so difficult to replace one of these. Of course, if you lose it, oftentimes what's going to happen is that this entire piece is made of plastic. So the securing part, it's also plastic, and it's going to shear in two, and whoops. If you lose it, you may want to grab another piece of glasses. Now there are old glasses that you no longer need, and swap it. Now there's at least two types that I could find. One type has kind of, I'll try to film as much as possible, but obviously these are tiny details. So one kind appears to have just a small pin inside, which is perhaps you can push it out, but you need to swap it with one that is identical mechanism. So you need to swap pin with pin and screw with screw. This one being pin, I could not use it because the piece that broke on these ones have a tiny screw, and I'll show in detail. It takes a very small flat screwdriver. So I could find from another pair of glasses one of these bumps. This one I took it from this one, and you need to look very carefully and closely, and that's why you need the magnifying glass, a regular one. Oftentimes you are going to find some dirt on the head of the screw, so you may scratch it and just make sure. Yeah, you can see this is the head of the screw, so you will see something like this on one side. Again, there might be dirt. And I'm using one of those Chinese screwdrivers. I can tell you this is the smallest of the set. Obviously it's going to be a flat head, flat tip, but if it's not thin enough to get into that head of the screw, you just want to get a file or just sandpaper and just remove a little bit and make it sharper at the tip. It's very, very small. My view is not the best, but using a magnifying glass and if you have a steady hand, I think it's doable. Now, when I went to unscrew this one from older glasses, it's definitely not going to be easy. You need to just make sure you grab the head of the screw and then put some pressure. So keep the glasses in some comfortable position and put some pressure on the screw and try to turn it to rotate slowly so you don't jump the head. Maybe because it's a tiny screwdriver, use a glove, a leather glove, so you don't puncture your hand. When you press with the screwdriver, it's important, don't skip this step, because you will regret it. And okay, I'm also using this kind of protecting whatever, I think it's to swipe the floors, but you don't want to scratch the glass when you work on this thing. If you manage to remove the screw from another pair of glasses, again you need to find ones that use the screw mechanism, locking mechanism. Then you may want to try swap it. And so this is the receiver, if you want, the one that I need to fix. Where's my screwdriver? Here it goes. You see, I tried. I think this, although I will call this nose bump for now, although there are different shapes and actually sizes. So this is going to be an emergency fix. Someone needs to take a flight and there's no time to go to the optometrist to fix this. So sometimes you may not get the right size, but I think that the bump that stays in there, this area here, it's going to be pretty much standard when you have at least for the ones with screw. So the small rubber piece that goes in there, it's standard. However, when I try to get this inside, you look closely and you see it's really awkward for me to film this. There is really not a lot of space. The lens glasses have a different a long shape, so bear with me, be patient. So when I try to get that piece in there, normally it's going to get in one way. You need to look for the hole that goes that receives the screw and just match it with the hole on the glasses sides. The screw goes in, so you just match the two holes on both ends And when you try to put them, also try to match the shape. So maybe this one appears to be symmetrical. When you try to put it in there, what happens is that you may find out that it does not want to get into the small hole into the glass side. And that's not because the rubber piece is too large. That's because the rubber piece that was here before sheared a piece or rubber part of it, and that part it's still in there. So it's like half of this bump from the older piece, it's still stuck in there. It's going to be impossible for me to film this detail, but if you look with magnifying glass, and what you want to do is get a tiny screwdriver and try to just scoop the old rubber piece out of there. Hopefully you are going to remove it from there. Is it this one? Yes, I think it's this one. This is the old rubber piece. That's from the broken rubber part. And if you don't remove this one, you won't be able to place the new rubber part into that. Call it socket, perhaps. Okay, so let's just try to place it. Now, it doesn't matter which end for this one. I think it's symmetrical mine. So there you have it. It goes in there and it swings as well. And now you just make sure I'm using the screw that came from these glasses. And I also have the screw from the donor glass, but I prefer to use this one. So just make sure, perhaps they are universal, but just to really awkward to film this thing. Place the screw, try to match the little hole in there. I think it's in there. Let's just try to check with magnifying glass. I think it sits nicely. Of course, hopefully the new replacement part, it's matching the hole, and you will know that when you will be able to just screw that screw there. So if it goes down, and we are going to also do a small test. I need my magnifying glass. I really no longer am good seeing these small details. Of course, you perhaps don't see really detailed filming at this point of the small parts. I'm really just trying to grab the head of the screw. I think I got it down. Okay. Oh, it's actually down all the way. Whoops. You see, I could just hit the glass with a screwdriver again. Careful. Maybe put something to cardboard to protect the glass itself. Depends how important the quality of the glass is for you. Depends. Maybe it's a very expensive unit. But that's how it sits in there, I think. So if I pull, it stays in there, it flips. It does need maybe a test on the person. Make sure perhaps that when you're up at the bottom, when you screw it at the bottom, it's kind of not tight, don't force on it, but it stays in there. If it keeps turning, it means it doesn't grab the thread, so it's not going to stay in there, the tiny screw. But in this situation, I think if I try to turn it, it stays in there. So basically the threads are on the other side of the metal piece, somewhere there. So the threads are not on the rubber part, it's on the metal piece that's attached to the glasses. That's it. Not a big fix, but I think it is going to work, and maybe this other side is going to fail not long in the future. It's a good idea perhaps just to swap the both sides at the same time. So if you have, you have a good, better quality glasses, maybe just swap the other side, because this one is going to fall not long after. Again, what's breaking here is really the rubber part. So it's all rubber, this piece, this nose piece, nose bump. So the rubber part is going to break at some point. There you have it. I think my stepmother is going to be a little bit happier for their for their traveling tomorrow. She's going to Europe. Thanks for watching. Maybe a bonus. Let's try to remove this screw to see how easy, how doable it is. So I'm trying to replace this one. It's not broken yet, but just in case, because at some point it is going to fail. So I did not loosen the screw at this point. I'm just trying to match the head. So maybe feel with your fingers if it does one. So if it fits the head of the screw, feel it. You know, it stops when you try to turn it. So now this is delicate. I think this is the most the part that will maybe break the deal. Let's just try to put a little bit of pressure. Do I have something I could? Let me see if I have something whatever. So I maybe protect a little bit the glass, just a little bit, but do it better. I'm doing this quickly so I don't delay the filming, but do it better. So a little bit of pressure downwards and just go slow turn, obviously counterclockwise, and try to feel if it moves or not. Maybe wiggle slightly. It's perhaps you can see the tip of the screwdriver top. Oops. Okay, that's a good thing to protect the glass. It's not going to break the glass necessarily, but you don't want to scratch it either. So go by feeling and don't force, don't rush by all means. These are very, very small screws. Obviously they sit in there for many years and there is sweat, whatever. Also take a look from for once in a while at the tip, see if it did rotate. Try to take a reference position. Oops, I went off the camera, I think. The best is really to put some pressure and go slowly. Let me just take off that top. I'm forcing now. I'm forcing to spin it and it doesn't really want. But keep it very steady so, oops, you could see the force I'm putting on it. Oh, hopefully it didn't break. So the other one went much easier. Don't put too much force downwards because these parts are not meant to be forced on. Just try to figure out if it spins or not. I don't think it's actually spinning at all. I'm basically doing this mostly for you, so you can see the difficulty that may happen sometimes. I'm going to keep trying for a while, but not too long. If it doesn't work, I'll let it just let it go like this. I don't have to replace this one. I was just thinking while there. Oh man, this one, it's okay. It started to turn, but better use that leather glove, right? Because you are going to puncture a fingertip. So it does turn at this point, but I'm happy that you could see that sometimes it's going to be a little more than a little struggle. So it did went. Once it started to turn, maybe one full turn, it's going to be easy to remove it, and obviously it's going to be easy to place it back. It's really the question if you manage to start it to break it loose or not for the first first 1-2 turns. Okay, so at this point I think it's going. I'll have to, well, actually I'll let my stepmother adjust the bump. Be careful, these are metallic and you really don't want to toss them, to move them, the metal part, too many times. So really just small adjustments, slow adjustments. If you swing the metal part here too many times, it's going to break and then it's over. Okay, still have to turn it a few more turns, I think. Maybe it's finished. Oh, it's finished. There you go. So not too difficult, but actually was difficult, this one, but I think I was near giving up. So the screw, I'll keep it with the glasses, and this one. So it looks like the screw is perhaps right at the top. The top of the head of the screw is right at the top. As you put the glasses down, it will be at the top here, not on the sides. So not on top, bottom side, but really just at the top here. So again, this one screw, it's going to be the first try. Let's see if this one goes easier. And again, I prefer using the screw that came from the specific glass. So don't swap the screws, just the pieces of rubber. It's also difficult to feel when it grabs the head of the screw. Okay, this one, it's a tough guy too. So again, it's important that the screwdriver really fits. Oh, this is really tough. Okay, hold on, I have a trick for this. So it's so tough. I felt my hand was slipping on the screwdriver. I just don't have enough force to turn the screwdriver. So enter the pliers. Now if you have locking pliers, it's much easier, but I'm using this one, regular pliers, because I think that's what most people have at home. Just grab the screwdriver at some place, and it's going to allow you to apply really the torque on the screwdriver, but be very careful. You want not to slip the screw driver. Also, you need to adjust the tip of the screwdriver. Look at this. Make sure the tip fits the head of the screw, right? And be more careful with this method here, because it's difficult to feel the screw at this point. You don't actually know exactly if it's spinning or not, so it's more delicate. And again, I'm matching the screwdriver. Okay, I think it's turning, and yeah, it doesn't help on the glass itself. But it's turning at this point. Let's try it by hand now. Maybe it can be done by hand at this point, because I did turn it maybe half a turn or so. I'm just looking with my my magnifying glass over the camera now. Oh, this one is really still difficult to turn, but it does turn. Okay, almost. Now it's turning easy. So yeah, how about the 20-minute video just to fix a little bit of glasses, but sometimes it's one of the choices basically. Try to do it yourself. You can tell this one is kind of long to undone. Or maybe it's already done. I think it's already done at this point. Let's try to remove it. There you go. It's out. So I'm going to keep this separately, just swapping the rubber part. Rubber part should come out easily. Maybe give it a check, see if the, call it hinge. So all this piece, basically the entire piece is rubber, so it's the hinge that breaks. So just make sure the hinge doesn't have a crack on it, or maybe look with the magnifying glass. It appears fine, and it's going to be swapped into this other glasses. So now it's basically having the both pieces, nose pieces, is that the right name? Both of them are going to be the same size, which perhaps is going to help. And again, the reason I'm swapping both of them, it's just I believe this one that I'm swapping may be better quality, or at least may last longer basically. Now if you have something to grab the screwdriver, it's very, very tiny. I do have something, let me try, but this is not something you will have at home most probably. Maybe try one of those, I do not know the name in English, but when you pluck your eyebrows, not necessarily you as a man, but female like to do that, and quite frankly, I do have daughters, and the first thing I told them, don't pluck your eyebrows, my friends. Keep them as they are now. They are still young. Do not try that, because you are going to regret it. Look at the older persons, older ladies. So yeah, one of those things that you will pluck your eyebrows, maybe you shouldn't do it perhaps, but anyway, you do what you want. And maybe grab one of those, and it's going to help just placing the screw in there, because it's too tiny, these things. I feel like I'm one of those, perhaps not optometrist, but watch repair shops. I guess they can fix this, because all they have to do is, it doesn't matter if they never worked on glasses like this, but all it takes is just removing screws. So watch repair shop should be able to do this very easily. So maybe a suggestion, just try to watch repair shop. I think there are more available than I don't know if all optometrists do this kind of repairs. I would guess some will do, but and maybe you will find also a cheaper price at the watch repair shop. So, you know, if they can remove screws from the back of the watch to replace the battery, they can do this too. These are they are surely used to tiny things like this. Okay, I'm going to call it a day. I think it screwed all in. So so these are not my glasses. So this one looks perhaps one of the things you may want to try when you remove that old rubber piece, maybe try to clean the socket inside the metal socket, so the metal hole. If you want, just scoop it. There's you know, a lot of things on your nose, and over the years they may accumulate inside here, so just try to give it a clean. Maybe that's why this one doesn't spin very well, doesn't rotate very well, while this one, which I scooped it to remove the old rubber piece, it's moving much easier. So maybe just try to clean that metal hole in there before placing the rubber piece. Okay, let's bring this to step. Thanks for watching. I did remove the second piece that I did add because it wasn't rotating easily in there, and I did scoop here. So just scoop for a little while. Just make sure you remove everything, every dirt in there. But also the rubber piece, if you look, it doesn't look that clean. So this also has some dirt on it, and you want to clean this thing as well. So just with your fingers, go gently because it's rubber, right? I don't want to damage it. Just go gently on all sides and just scrub it a little bit, or maybe use a cloth, a piece of cloth or something like this, and maybe clean that hole too. Do I have something? One of the tools that I like is this is a guitar string. So it's a string, metal string from a guitar. So you can buy this on guitar shops. A set of strings, metal ones, and they become interesting tool because they are really very thin and strong. So they will help you clean small passages like this. So it looks like there's kind of something sticky on it, perhaps. But I would say don't force it because obviously this is not new. You don't want to damage it. Let's just put it back in place. So it moves a little more than before, but this one's still better. But if you just move it like this, really don't force on it. Again, it's a very small rubber piece that's attaching it to the frame. So go very gently with this kind of moments rotation. Don't force by all means. And then all you have to do is just perhaps adjust the metal hinges if they are too bent at this point. But there's enough rotation here for a good adjustment. Perhaps you just want to adjust it more this lateral way, the hinges sideways. Depends on the physiognomy of the person.